Welcome back, guys. Today we intend to talk about this particular project. I intend to give you a walkthrough, a comprehensive walkthrough of how I built everything from the mock-up of the cars to the house to the horticulture that you can see, as well as the road. If you take your time to look at the road well, I mean here, you can see some marks there. Those are signs of imperfection. I left them there intentionally just so that I could give you an insightful explanation of how you can resolve it if you have a similar bottleneck while trying to build this particular project. Why did I opt for low poly? Why not the high poly? Well, for here are some of the benefits of using the low poly. If your system has a very low memory, it's always advisable to to dabble into the use of the low poly. Put low poly models into Figma. That's for web developers. The difference between high poly and low poly is not that much. Very simple. The, the high poly the high poly is good for both close-up shots and long-distance shots, while the low poly is basically for long-distance shots. But regardless of that, even if you decide to do a close-up shot for the low poly, it will still turn out to be great. Coming back to this particular project, I intend to walk you through how I modeled each building that you're seeing here. There are two cameras that I used, and everybody knows that when it comes to using Blender, you can only use one camera at a time. But in this particular walkthrough, I will show you how you can use two cameras for your project. And if you enjoy what I've been saying so far, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And another thing is the lighting. You can see, okay, let's view it from the Z axis. Hold on. So what I just clicked now are the lightings. You can see the way I properly aligned the lightings, just so that what we are trying to model will be properly littered. So let's view it in the let's see what it will look like in the rendered mode. So this is what you should expect when you want to render. But if I decide to turn off all these lightings that you're seeing here, it will be dark. And another thing I did during the course of this project was another fancy thing I did was to model the moon. The modeling of the moon is very easy. So everything that you've seen here, I'm going to close this particular project and open up a different one, and I will show you how you can parent an item. Apart from parenting an item, I will show you how you can merge two items together such that when you need to move the item around, you won't experience something like these lines. Let me show you again. These lines here. Yes, these lines. You won't experience it, and you'll be able to copy easily. And if you take your time to look at this particular project, well, you will realize that they are all repetitions. The few difference here is maybe the car and maybe the lighting and so on. Even the lighting, they were all repetition, just copy and paste. So this is a very easy project for a beginner that a beginner can easily jump on. So when you open Blender for the first time, this is what you see. You see, you see the lights. You see the lights. You see your camera and you see the cube through the camera high view. This, yeah. So, in the previous project, I said something like, when you are done modeling, when you are done modeling, okay, when you are done modeling a particular item, you copy and you paste. So a very fast way to copy is Shift D. That's if you're using a Mac. Then you decide where do you want to move it to. So for it to be in a properly aligned sequence, if you want to move it to your left or to your right, so you click, okay, let's assume in this context, I intend to move the cube to my right. So I've already pressed Shift D. As soon as you press Shift D, the cursor will change to something that looks like star. Then you press Y. So when I press Y, regardless of how careless I am, whichever way I decide to move my mouse cursor, it will move the copied item, the duplicated item on a very straight line. So here's a demonstration. So that's it. So if you could remember, okay, let me take you back to the scene of the car. So you can see these lines. You can see these lines. That's to show you that the road was not well aligned. Anyway, it was intentional. I intentionally left there so that I could give you a very insightful class. And if you want to see a perfect view of this particular one, you can check out some of my shot. I think my most recent shot, as at the time of recording this video, is there. Just check it out. You'll see it. So don't forget the lines. So you can see here that they are both on the same line. So let's see it through the render mode. To view it through the render mode, you come here, render, click on image. You can see that they are on a straight line, but they are not joined together. Let me join it together. So to join them together, you just move this cursor this way. Now you can see that the two items are joined together, fixed together. Let's view it through the render mode again. So you can see the way it turned out this way. So so now let me try and move one of those items. Let me try and move the first cube number 1. If I should move cube number 1 up, I might not be able to properly move cube number 2 on the same line with the same calculation. So it will turn out that one might be higher than the other. Let's view it again in the render mode. So can you see? Okay, let me move the camera angle so you can view it better. Can view what I'm trying to explain better. Select the camera view. After clicking on the camera here, you come here, you press G. When you click G, then you can move your cursor whichever way you want to. So right now, the camera is directly on the cube. So let's check it again in the render mode. You can see that one of the cube is higher than the other one. Okay. So to correct that error, you come back here, take, sorry, hold on. To correct that error, Come back here, bring this down, bring them back to the same level, and are they on the same level? Let's check. To know if they're on the same level, you can check from different angles. You can check from the Z angle, from the Z axis, Y axis, as well as the X axis. Okay, I think it has been fixed. So right now, to merge both items, if I need to move them together at once so that I won't experience such mistake, I will click on the first cube, click on the second cube, and I will click Shift J. That's if you are using a Mac. And I think you can use the same option for Windows as well. So you can see Shift J has merged the two items. So now another thing here is if you need to give it a color, let's say whichever color you want to give the model. Let's say I want this to be color green. Because you are watching it through the viewport, you might not really see the color. So you can come here to the rendered view to see what it looks like. You can see I've changed the color to green. So if you noticed, it was just one item that I clicked on, and I changed the color of just that particular item, and the second cube came out as green. The reason for that is because I had already merged them together. So I properly position your camera. You click on this. When you click on this, the camera has been highlighted. Then you press letter G. After pressing letter G, then you move your cursor whichever way you want it to move. Then if you are okay with the view, then you left click and you go back to your rendered view. So here is it. Go back to the project again. Okay, so let's talk about the moon. I will show you how to draw the moon. It's very simple. This particular moon we are using is a crescent. But anyway, don't be afraid. I'll make sure that the project file for this particular course is available. So on your own, you can decide to model the project file, re-edit it whichever way you want. But the project file I'm going to give you, the role is going to look exactly like this. So it's an assignment for you personally to correct all the errors that you can see in this particular body of work. And if you can properly correct all the errors that you are seeing here, believe me, you are no longer a beginner in Blender. So to draw a crescent in Blender, you click Shift A. After clicking Shift A, instead of going to the mesh as usual, you go to the curve. And while on the curve, you click on Path. So when you click on Path, this is what you see. So you rotate it. After the rotation, uh, you go to the edit mode. And you go to the edit mode, you highlight the first, second, and the third. Then you move it out just to give you that C shape. So come here again, come here, click on this two, click on this two, and you press X. Yeah, okay. I think it's coming out the way we want it. So while still in the edit mode, come to the object property menu, data object property menu. Then you scroll down to geometry. Where is geometry? Okay, yeah, this is geometry. So you ignore uh, every other measurement that you see here. Well, there are different ways to go about this, but this is what worked for me. Like, I haven't seen someone that knows Blender in and out. So we are all trying. We are all doing things that work for us. So for the fact that I decided to model my own this way doesn't really mean that that is the only way to do it. Someone else can decide to do it even better and faster than what I'm trying to show you. Okay. So you go to the depth, continue till when you are satisfied. Okay. I think I'm okay with this. Still in the edit mode. Don't forget, don't go back to the object mode yet. So, okay. Yeah. Think I've done that for that one. So, reduce the value once more. Okay. So, let's switch to the edit mode and look at what we've created. Okay. Yeah. I think this looks like a crescent. Then try and rotate it. It's possible to move the lights. I will put another perfume. Let's put the lights directly above it. Light is not too far away from the crescent. Sorry, I mean the cursor, this 3D cursor is not too far away from the crescent. So you press Shift A, click on the point lights. Yeah. So this time around, it's closer. Uh, So let's check out the watts for, oh, the watt is really small. So we can decide to increase the watts to 1000 so that we can have a very bright crescent. Okay, 1000 is okay. And for the material of the crescent, let's make it pure white so that it can be radiating. Okay, so let's view it in the render mode. Oh, have I added a camera? Okay, I think there's a camera. Oh, I put the point light at 1,000. I think 1,000 is not enough. Let's make it 10,000, 10,000 watts. So let's try and view the camera. So this is the camera. Don't forget what I told you. We click on the camera. When you click on move, we press G. After pressing G, you move your mouse cursor whichever way you want to move with. So here we are having a clear view of what we want to do. Hmm. Okay, so I'm not satisfied with the position of the light. Is not is not covering everywhere I want it to cover on the crescent. So this shows you the importance of lights when they're trying to model any item. So I think in this particular context, we can decide to do the 3-point lighting. Let's see how far we can go with that. So don't forget to move the 3D cursor, shift, and you right click. Okay. So this is what it turned out as. I think this is better. This is not bad. This is not bad. It's not bad. It looks like a real crescent. So, so what is left that we haven't touched? I think we haven't touched how I was able to keyframe the cars, moving them. I was able to keyframe the cars, moving them from point A to point B. I know this way. You can see the cars movements moving in a straight line. I was able to read the cars. Okay, so let's talk about that. It's actually very simple. So I think I'm going to use this crescent as a very good example as an illustration on how you can keyframe your objects in Figma. So uh, to see your keyframe, uh, make sure your viewport is enlarged. I mean your timeline. Your timeline is enlarged. So you click on the item. You click on the item and you press high. So when you press high, uh, instead of inst- instead of using keyframe by location or keyframe by rotation or by scale, just click on location. When you click on location, when you click on location, you you move your you move your keyframe to, let's say, 100. After you move it to 100, then you click on your object, whichever position that you want it to be when the keyframe is in 100. So, okay, let's assume this is where I want my keyframe, where I want my object to be when it's on 100. Then I press high again. High, that's location. So when you press high, it will take care of the location at the x-axis, at the y-axis, as well as the z-axis. So let's see what we just did. So you go back to frame 0 or frame 1. Then we click on play. You can see the present movement. So you can use this same style to move or to rig vehicles or to rig an object in Blender. It's very straightforward. So try and repeat that process. Practice it. When you are done practicing it, then we will now just pause this video, open your Blender, do whatever you want to do. All the things I've told you so far, try and reciprocate it, repeat it. And when you are done with that, when you are sure that you've mastered the lightings, you've mastered how to build a crescent, you've mastered how to merge two objects together. Okay, and I think in the next tutorial we'll talk about how to torrent an object. So let me just leave you with these options for now. When you are done with this particular one, then come back to the video. Then I will show you how you can use two cameras in a particular project without the use of an external add-on or by having to go to Blender Market to buy the rig camera. In this particular interface, we intend to make use of two cameras. So don't forget, this is how you can bring out your camera. You press Shift A, you go to Mesh. Oh, sorry. You press Shift A, then you go to camera. So at the moment we have two cameras. Let me zoom out. Where's the other camera? Okay, that's where the other camera is. Let me delete it. A more convenient way of putting in two cameras is to press Shift D. As soon as you press Shift D, that's duplicate. Then you drag it out. So in this particular project, we have two different cameras. And let's assume that you are struggling really hard to make sure your camera, let's assume you are struggling really hard to make sure that your camera is focused on the object. This is a very easy way to do about it. You click on the camera and you come to the constraints. You click on hard object constraints and you click on track to. So after clicking on track to, you click on this object, this material. As soon as you click on this material, automatically the camera will be facing the object. Okay, so if that illustration is not clear enough, let me show you another demonstration. So, okay, so let me show you another demonstration by duplicating this cube. Don't forget to duplicate is Shift D. Drag it out. As you can see, both cameras are facing the first cube. So we want the second camera to look at the second cube. Okay, you can see through the camera high view, you can see that it is facing the first cube. So take it out of the camera view. This is where we have our second cube. So you go back to your add object constraint, click on track 2, and click on this item and click on this. Easily, you've been able to focus your camera on the object. To confirm what I just told you, now you click on the camera eye view. Now you can see the camera is facing. So, with that being said, I think it's time for us to keyframe our camera. So you enlarge the timeline view. This is the timeline view. So my timeline here starts from keyframe 1 to keyframe 250. So in this particular first camera, okay, so to keyframe your first camera, while it is clicked on the camera, you click on you press letter I. When you press letter I, this option comes out. Available location, rotation, scale, or whichever one that you want, whichever way you want to frame your camera. So for this particular one, we intend to use location. So the location will affect it at the x-axis, at the y-axis, and as well as the z-axis. Don't forget. So at keyframe 1, it is facing cube 1. So move the keyframe to 50. So at 50, once at 50, we want our camera position to be different at the y-axis. So at the y-axis, yes. So the reading at the y-axis is 5.0. We didn't touch the location at the x-axis. We left it at 8.6, z at 3.2. So to enable that keyframe, you go back to letter I and type and you left click location. So we have been able to successfully keyframe the camera. To show you what we just did now, you come back here, you click on play. You can see the movement. You can see the movement of the camera. So okay. Click on camera number 2. Let's assume maybe at frame 60, you also want to do some manipulations. You click on letter I, location. So, okay, let's take pick, or no, let's leave y-axis. Let's leave y-axis. Let's use, let's use the x-axis. So you can see the movements. Okay. So yes, we've decided to put the keyframe at 120. So now let's adjust the y-axis. Sorry, the x-axis. Yeah, I think I am satisfied with this position. Okay. So don't forget I said one camera can work at a time in Blender. You can see the two levels. So to achieve this, so this is the first camera. You click on the first camera, take it back to keyframe 1, then click on add marker. Come back to that same add marker and click on bind camera to markers. So you've been able to keyframe, you've been able to make camera 1 active. So to make camera 2 active at keyframe 60, click on camera 2, you come back to marker, you press add marker, press that same marker option again, and you click on bind camera to markers. So let's see the results in the rendered view. So there you go. So can you see the final results of using two cameras? We were able to bind the camera to the markers. We're able to achieve this without the use of the rig or even using any form of external hardware. So if you like what I've done so far, if you like this demonstration, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and drop a comment in the comment section. And if you need a one-on-one consultation with me, my email address will be in the description file. And the project file for this particular course is going to be available for free. You can download it, play with it, do whatever you like to do with it, and hope to see you in the next class.